Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my marked as to read video for February. So if you are new to my channel and you don't know, marked as to read is a series of videos that I do each month where I talk about all of the books that I was inspired to mark as to read on Goodreads in the previous month. Now, in this video, I actually only have 9 books to talk about, which is a very condensed list for me. If you've been watching my previous videos, then you know that sometimes there can be a huge amount of books. I do only have 9 this month, which is good. Hopefully that means a shorter video. So let's jump in and talk about all of the books. The first book I want to talk about is Vendetta by Catherine Doyle. This is the first book in the Blood for Blood trilogy. I have heard a bit about it in the past, and I believe that it's come up recently on BookTube. A few people have been talking about it because I believe the third and final book in the trilogy may have recently been released in January, I think. And I've heard good things about this in the past. I believe it's a young adult contemporary series, but like a darker contemporary romance series that follows, I know it's got something to do with like the mafia or something like along those lines. I don't know too much about it apart from that, but it's one of those series that I suspect may be underhyped. I don't know because I haven't read it. I don't know if it's good, but the people who do seem to talk about it seem to really, really love it. And that's definitely just made it one of those series that I do eventually want to get around to reading. The next book I marked as to read is Prisoner of Night and Fog by Anne Blankman. This is a young adult historical fiction that I've been wanting to read for ages, and I just turned out that I'd never marked it as to read. All I know about this is that it follows a girl who is German, and her very close family friend is Adolf Hitler, and she has always known him as like he's like an uncle to her. And then she meets a young Jewish reporter, and it starts to change the way that she sees like the world, and she starts to question, I guess, some of the things that she knows about her uncle, who is someone that she's always really loved, and that maybe he isn't the person that she believes him to be. I think that's just kind of what it's about. I've been wanting to read, like I said, for a really, really long time. I believe it's a duology. I hope to get to this like at some point in the future, like I said, because I've been wanting to read it for so long. The next book I want to talk about is The Year We Fell Apart by Emily Martin. Now, this is a book that I just happened to come up in my Goodreads recommendation section, and I liked the look of the cover, and so I clicked on it, and it's a young adult contemporary story about a girl who, I don't know exactly what's happened, but she was going through like a troubled time or something, and she started to get kind of a bad reputation at school, like with boys, and just like spiraling a bit out of control. And she also, through some of it, I don't know what happens, but she destroys her relationship with her best friend, who is a boy named Declan. Declan has been at boarding school for the last 2 years, and when he returns, I think is basically he doesn't want anything to do with her, but she is hoping to kind of, salvage their friendship. And maybe, I presume it's probably going to be about a romance between them as well. Maybe, I don't know. It just sounds really interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about it, but it does sound really interesting and like something that maybe I would enjoy. Next, we have A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. This is, I believe, just a young adult contemporary story that is a romance, I believe, between a girl who is selectively mute and a boy who is deaf. That's all I really know about it, but I do know that Book and Lala gave this 5 stars. I've heard really amazing things about it from the people who have been reading it. It sounds like a really, diverse story in a way. It's obviously got a boy who's deaf, a girl who's selectively mute, so there's going to be some mental health things probably in there. It just sounds really good. Like I said, I've heard really amazing things about it, and I do want to read it. Next, I want to talk about Everything Beautiful Is Not Ruined by Danielle Young-Ullman. I really don't know anything about this, except the Books and Lala rated it as 5 stars and had really good things to say about it. I know that it's a young adult contemporary. I believe I had a quick skim of the synopsis, but I didn't really take anything out of it. I think it's about a girl who's at some kind of wilderness camp. I know the very first line of the synopsis described it as being wild by Cheryl Strayed meets The Breakfast Club, which is a very interesting mashup. So anyway, like I say, the fact that Books and Lala raved about it is enough for me to want to read it. Next, we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a book that I've just been hearing a lot of people talk about. I believe it's just a chick lit type story about a girl and a guy who are both, their companies combine and they're both doing kind of the same role, and then there is an opportunity, a new role is created that is going to mean that basically one of them would be the other's boss, and they have a real big rivalry, and it's kind of a hate to love story. It just sounds really cute. A lot of people have been giving it really good ratings. It really sounds like a rom-com type movie but in book form, and I'm just really excited to check it out at some point. Next, I want to talk about Unraveling by Elizabeth Norris. This is a book that I actually saw over on Today in Jen's Libraries channel in her young adult romance recommendations. I believe this is I'm not sure if it's like a paranormal type romance story about a girl who dies but is brought back to life by this mysterious boy. So that's all I really know about it, except that there's also 24 days that they have to save the world or something. I don't know, it just sounded really interesting. Jen had good things to say about it. She was obviously recommending it, and I would definitely like to check it out at some point. The next book I want to talk about is Sunstone Volume 1, and I'm sorry, I'm going to completely butcher this name, so I apologize, by Stepan Sajik. I'm sorry, I know I butchered that. This was actually recommended to me in a comment on Goodreads, and I can't remember why they said I should check it out, which I wish I'd written down, because I actually trawled through my notifications when I was planning this video to see if I could find what they'd said about it, and I just can't find it anywhere. And all it says on Goodreads is, two women deal with modern themes of sex, relationships, and fetishism in this erotic romantic comedy. So beware all who enter, because, to quote a few thousand readers on DeviantArt, I'm not into BDSM, but this story, I get it. So it sounds really interesting. Like I say, this person recommended it to me, and when I looked into it, it did sound really interesting. So I am intrigued. And the final book that I want to talk about in this video is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This is a book that I've seen around, and I've seen the cover of a million times, but never actually realized what it was about. And I actually saw Simon from Savage Reads and Lauren from Lauren and the Books talking about this in Simon's Nosy Through My Bookshelf video, and they were talking about it, and then it just sounded really amazing. I believe it's about, I'm trying to remember the intricacies of the plot. I believe it's about a woman who has a gajillion different paths that her life's taken. Every key point in her life, she's veered off down different paths, and there's and you're following her through lots of different ways of her life. That sounds really confusing. It probably is confusing, but it obviously works. They had really positive things to say about it, and like I said, it just sounded really, really intriguing, and it definitely made me want to read it. So it's definitely a book that I think would be really interesting, and that I don't know, I feel like maybe it could be a book that would go over my head, but I'm interested to check it out. So those are all of the books that I marked as to read in the month of February. If you've read any of these books and you know anything about them, I would love to chat in the comments with you down below, or any books that you've been getting really excited about that you want to read. I would love to chat down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. But that's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys!